June 11th and we're out here cutting our first cutting of hay. My dad has a few head of cattle, just some feeders. We used to have a pretty good sized cow-calf herd, but we got rid of all the cows and now he's just got a few feeders left. So we've still got some hay. We've got about, I don't know exactly how much. There's 6 or 7 acres in this field. We got another 3 or 4 acres on the other side of the farm, and then we got another 2 or 3 acres on another farm. We're not using our tractor. We normally use our 1206, but it's broke down at the moment. We're using a friend of ours 806. It is not your average 806. This one's been upgraded, so now it has a turbo. So it's basically a 1206. I'm gonna get some shots of Dad cutting hay. Using a MacDon 4000 hay conditioner. It's a sickle style conditioner, so it's not a disc bind, so you have to go a little bit slower with these. But since we don't have a whole lot of hay, this was a cheaper option for us. We just found this at a local auction, so it wasn't something we bought new from a dealer. We kind of knew that it might be tough to find parts, but it's been a good conditioner for us, and we don't really use it that much, so we don't have to worry about parts that often. I'm standing here by the business end of this hay conditioner. This is what you call a mower conditioner. It's not a disc bind. It has an actual sickle that cuts it and a reel that feeds it through. And the conditioner part of it is a couple of steel drum rollers that you can see right here. I'll get in the backside where you can see them a little better. So these rollers, they just roll opposite directions. If I don't get my fingers pinched, the hay gets pushed through the middle of it and it squeezes the water out of it, conditions it, gets it ready for drying. The reason why mostly everyone around here uses a conditioner for hay is because you want the hay as dry as possible when you bale it. Some disc binds don't have the rollers in them, and those are mostly used if you wanted to do like haylage or put it up for silage like that. When you're doing hay for bales, you want to get it as dry as you can, otherwise the bales will spoil. So that's why we run a conditioner. Now that Dad stopped, I'll let him get back to work. But like I said, this is a MacDon 4000 conditioner. It's a little bit hard to find parts for. We don't have a MacDon dealer right in our area, but we bought this from an auction. So it was something that we kind of knew going into it that we might have trouble finding parts. But for what we do with it, it's been a good conditioner, and we haven't really had to buy that much stuff for it. 806 is equipped with the optional cement block in the front for extra weight. Kind of see those rollers spinning in the back. A lot of mower conditioners have rubber rollers which actually wear out over time, and that was one of the reasons I can remember when we bought this thing. We like the steel rollers because they're more heavy duty and you don't have to worry about them wearing down and having to replace them. If you could see in the video, this 806 has 20.834 rear tires on it. I believe the stock size was 18.434, so these are a little bit wider. I'm pretty sure this tractor is pretty stout. I'm sure the pump's been turned up and it has the turbo. We have some local tractor pulls in our area, and I'd like to get this one hooked to a sled or see it hooked to a sled because I think it's a little stouter than our 1206. I keep talking about our 1206. Some of you may have not seen it already. I'm going to take you up and show you guys that. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that we are mainly a John Deere farm. Everything that we use to do the crop farming with is John Deere, but we do have a little bit of red on our farm. This is my grandpa's IH1206. It's a 1966 model, so that's the middle year they made them. They made them 65 through 67. So this one is a 66 model. It's all original. It has had the upgraded turbo on it, so it has the turbo out of a 1456 like I mentioned. It's also been upgraded to the dual PTO, so it has the 1000 and the 540. And if you'll notice, the 1000 is missing because we were running a flail chopper with it with an adapter to go from small 1000 to big 1000, and we broke it off. So that's the reason why we're not using this on the hay mower, because that PTO broke off behind the seal, so it leaks oil when you run it. Normally we use this tractor for mowing hay. It's set on wide rows. That 806 is on narrow rows, so it's set on 30-inch rows. This is 36 or 38s or whatever, so you can lay out a wider windrow with this tractor because it is so wide, and that tends to dry out a little quicker. But the weather the way it is, it's in the high 70s, low 80s, breezy. Those taller, narrower windrows should dry out just fine. One other thing I could mention, if you'd like to see some footage of this 1206 working in the fields, head on over to Ron Luco's YouTube channel. We took it to the Half Century of Progress in Rantoul, Illinois with our 5-bottom 720 plow. We plowed with it down there, and Ron's got a few videos of this tractor as well as a bunch of other tractors working. I know there's one in particular where there's this 1206 and 2 other ones running in a line, 3 in a row. It's pretty neat to see. One of the videos I'll try to look up and link to it right here. This tractor is the thumbnail, so if you can find that one, it's pretty cool. There's a number of videos about Half Century of Progress, and this tractor is in a few of them. So if you'd like to see this tractor and tractors like it working in the fields, look up Half Century of Progress or Ron Luco on YouTube. And while we're on the topic of red tractors, we also have this 1941 Farmall M. You may recognize this from our pumping video. This is the tractor we run on the pump with the belt pulley. We also have a 1953 Super M. It's at another farm, otherwise I'd show you that. The Super M isn't as nice as this one. This one isn't perfect. It's an older restoration. It could use some love. It has these fenders off of like an F12, F20, that model tractor. And I really don't know why they didn't run those fenders on the M's, because I think they look pretty cool on there. Normally the M fenders are just clamshell fenders and they look fine, but I really like the look of these high top deluxe fenders. I think it really makes it look sharp. It's a good solid running old tractor. It amazes me how reliable that old tractor is. I'd love to know how many hours are on it because we've put countless hours on it running those pumps, and it just keeps going and going and going, and we really don't have to do that much to it. It's just a good old tractor. The other thing I forgot to mention about this 1206 is it's not very economical because, as you can see, it runs on Miller Lite, so that can get quite expensive. Like I said, said, our 1206 has been upgraded to the 1456 turbo, which I don't know the exact model number on. I think it starts with 2LD, but this 806, it's got a little bit more of a whistle to it than our 1206 does. So I'm thinking this either has like a TO4 or maybe a 3LM turbocharger on it. The 3LM would be out of a 466. So yeah, normally the 806s are naturally aspirated, so I guess it's whatever you want to do when you put a turbo on it. I don't exactly know what is all involved, if you have to change like the exhaust manifolds or anything like that. So this one was bought that way. We really don't know that much about the tractor. The buddy of ours, he just bought it and it had the turbo on it, had those bigger rear tires, and he had a 560, he wanted a bigger tractor, so he got this. The 806 was equipped with the D361 engine, so it's 361 cubic inches, naturally aspirated. 1206 has a DT361, so it's the same engine, it's just turbocharged, giving it a little bit more horsepower. And another fun fact, 1206 was the first tractor to ever feature a turbocharged engine. So by putting the turbocharger on this 806, makes it basically a 1206. As far as the hay, most of our hay will be rolled into big round bales. We do a couple racks of small squares every year. We have the 2 goats, so they need a little bit of hay, and it's nice to have some squares. Back when we were calving, we like to have a few squares around. That way, if you had a cow locked up in the pen having a calf, you could give her a little bit of hay easier than trying to flake it off those big round bales. I could talk a little bit about the process of growing and baling hay. The first step is to wait for a nice stretch of dry weather and lay it on the ground, which is what we're doing right now. So we're dropping them in these windrows. They'll sit for 2, 3, 4 days, however long it takes until they get dry. And then we'll come in with a hay rake and we will roll these over usually once to get the bottom side dry, and then we will combine 2 or 3 into one, just depends on how big they are. Normally first cutting, we'll combine 2 windrows into one, that way you don't have to make as many trips with the round baler. So after we roll it, we usually let the bottom side dry a little bit, and then we come back with the baler, pick it all up, roll it up in bales, and we pick all the bales up, stack them on the edge of the field, and then when the cows need to be fed, we put them out in the hay feeder. It's really a simple process. The biggest thing with hay is trying to get it cut under the right weather conditions, because we can't always get a nice stretch of dry weather to get it all done without it getting rained on. But we're kind of going into a little bit of a dry period. It looks like no rain all next week, so we should have no trouble getting this hay up. So it might be a little bit hard to tell in the video, but this windrow right here has been on the ground for a couple hours already, and it's already dried a lot in this wind and sun. Maybe you can hear that. It's kind of got that crinkly sound to it, like it's been drying. I'll go over here and show you a windrow that Dad just got done cutting. I don't know how well you can see it on camera or not, but this windrow has just been cut, and you could still wring water out of it if you twisted it up tight. It's basically just like mowing the grass. all it takes is a couple hours and the hay is dried down a lot already. So perfect weather for hay. Hopefully we don't get any real big winds like we've been having lately, because sometimes if you get too much wind, the windrows will blow away, and that's not good. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. We had this 806 on the farm. It's not ours. Like I said, we borrowed it from a neighbor, and it's not every day you get to see a turbo 806. A little bit different video than my normal ones. We're mainly row crop farm, but we do have the cattle, so we gotta get this hay cut and baled so we have feed for them. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I try to get a video out weekly, so if you hit that subscribe button, you'll always know when I have a new video. See you on the next one.